Hey, Herrst, Alter, was ist das?
Do you speak English?
What is this? What is all this for?
Oh, this is just for Schnitz and Giggles.
Schnitz and Giggles!
Welcome to Schnitz and Giggles, the podcast that stumbles upon the humor of cross-cultural confusion and life in Vienna, Austria, through the experiences of an Auslander and his Wiener.
Brought to you by the Edelweiss Crackers.
Disclaimer. This podcast is for the purpose of entertainment only and is not a replacement for therapy.
Guten Hallo and welcome to the Schnitz and Giggles podcast.
Guten Hallo to you.
Hey, Lukey, how are you?
I'm fine, Mikey. How are you?
I'm doing great.
You look great.
Oh, thanks, Bill. Yeah. All right.
I mean, we both look great. Usually that's why we're doing audio podcast.
That's true. That's we hold back the video portion. I mean, for the good of our listeners.
For the good of society.
Yeah,
Yes.
We don't want them to be overwhelmed by... Anyways, how are you?
You already asked me that. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, it got awkward, so I didn't know how to get out of it.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm also good. Yeah. Good, great.
Hey,
Awesome.
how am I?
I don't know. So what are we talking about?
Okay, what are we talking about? Today, I think we need to cover one of the most important topics that you can face in Austria.
Where to find a good schnitzel?
That's clear because it's always around the corner.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Problem solved.
Okay, problem solved.
Good. Next problem.
The biggest problem that Austrians usually have is not even that they're going to be mistaken for Australians,
Which could happen.
which could happen.
At least in the post office.
But the bigger problems that Austrians have is that they're usually referred to or mixed up with Germans.
Oh, yeah. I could see how that would be a huge problem. I would hate to get mistaken for a German.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, come on. Like,
Wow.
those Germans are...
That would be embarrassing.
Okay. I've had enough now.
Okay.
Yes, so certainly we do speak the German language.
True.
And there's the Austrian variant of the German language. But I was thinking maybe, yeah, we should dive into that and let our listeners know why they should never mistake a German for an Austrian and the other way around, and how this could also lead to personal and political and all kinds of problems in the world.
It seems like an American and an Austrian talking about the problem of Germans is a bit problematic without a German voice. Let's go. We should go try to find a German.
You think we're going to try to find a German?
Yeah, let's go find one.
Okay, let me just look around. Hey, I found one.
Hey, here's a German.
It's German.
You are German, correct?
Correct.
Okay, he is German.
Great. Yeah.
Good.
Who are you other than that you're German,
Besides being German,
besides being German? What's your
My
first name?
my name is Heiko. That's a very German name.
True.
So, up in the north, and I'm a German teacher. Yeah, I'm living already, like, I guess, 8 years here in Austria, willingly.
That's good. Blink twice if you need help.
And
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Why did the Germans kick you out of your country?
yeah, so I came here for my master degree. Before that, I was living in China for some time, teaching German. So I thought, the next step was, okay, maybe I should teach the Austrians some German.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, once you get done teaching Chinese people how to speak German, then the
Just
obvious
go.
next step is to go to Austria.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, sure.
next.
It's the natural career path.
So who's next?
Yeah, you might have heard the news that 8 years ago, like all of the Chinese people are fluent in German by now.
Yeah,
so
I did see that
he
on,
has nothing else to do with the
on
country.
ticker.
So-
Yeah, mission accomplished. So this is actually, with our podcast being kind of focused on the experience of an Auslander living in Vienna, being guided by a Wiener over here.
Mhm.
We've done it obviously from the American perspective.
So now we've gathered the crowd here.
Yeah. Get the crowd out of here, buddy, with your bad jokes.
Sorry for interrupting you. You can proceed.
Crowd goes wild.
The crowd goes wild.
Yeah. So I guess let's start out by what's one of the biggest challenges you've faced being a foreigner living here in Austria.
Obviously, the language. So, that's true. Like there's a saying, nothing is separating Germany from Austria as much as the language.
Yeah, I guess my assumption would be that your time here, language-wise, is easier than mine.
I hope so.
Okay, good. Healthy assumption. But so what are, as someone who might not be so familiar with the nuances of these differences, what's an example of, and make it funny because we are schnitz and giggles for goodness sakes. What's a funny example of the language differences?
Stop. You can't ask a German to be funny. I mean, come on. Like, you cannot do that.
That's kind of why I did it. I wanted to make sure that...
you wanted him to fail. You set him up for failure.
Well, I just wanted him to try.
Okay. And then we tell him, listen, boy, you're not funny.
Okay. So it's probably more funny for the people outside observing that.
Most
maybe thinking, the German again. By the way, there's a term or a name for German people in Austria called Piefke.
Piefke.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to get censored?
No, it's not.
Okay,
it's not a bad.
Okay.
It used to be a bad word, but now it's just like, it adds to the hate-love relationship between Germany and Austria. So I think one of the biggest thing at the beginning was the difference between Tüte and Sackerl.
Okay, yeah.
So for those who don't know that, it's like the shopping bag you get at the supermarket, and the cashier is asking you like, do you need a bag? Or hätten Sie gern einen Sackerl? The moment you're asking for a Tüte,
because this is what you would ask for.
Yeah, I did.
In your hometown.
I did. Like,
okay.
I did, and I got the side eye. I was lucky they didn't throw me out of the supermarket.
Yeah.
Like,
You still got your groceries.
Yeah.
So, but I got the eyes. So,
So that's a quick giveaway.
To add to that, the word Tüte in Austria is more used as an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
So I heard
we've talked about this before too with the beginning of school year experience.
Right, the Schultüte. It's like a cone.
Yeah.
So the other day I was just browsing the internet, and I came across a situation that obviously happened in Vienna just a couple days or weeks ago. There was a German in an Austrian supermarket here in Vienna, and the German did ask for a Tüte instead of the Sackerl, and the cashier said, "So listen, son, we're a supermarket. We're not an ice cream parlor."
Got him.
So that's what could have happened to our friend Heiko here as well.
That would have been funny.
So the side eyes.
That would have made the story a little bit funnier.
Yeah, I made the story funny, so that's my part.
Nice try.
It's my job. Thank you.
Could we go back to this term for Germans? What does it mean?
I think it goes back to like military times. There was something that was standing out from the German soldiers. I think it had to do with the shoes. I don't know. Like I heard it at some point, but I already forgot. But I'm sure it was like from like the military. Like,
so there was some identifier on the Austrian soldier.
The German soldier.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're on the German soldier was wearing something specific that then the Austrian soldiers said, "This is what you're."
I could be wrong, but there's also.
That's fine. We're not really that concerned with accuracy on this podcast.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah, but you know, Germans are like precise,
Right? But you're not in Germany.
So, hey, I have to keep up the stereotype.
Let him live up to his reputation.
I have to keep up the stereotype, even if it doesn't exist anymore. Like,
Well, here's maybe a pointer, just to be the smart guy in the room here for a moment. Oh boy. You know what cars do in German when they honk? What do you say? When you say, you didn't say honk honk, that's a place in China, but you say Brumts. Yeah, too many giggles today.
Yeah, that got me.
But actually, you would often say toot, toot, toot.
yeah,
Right? Oh. So tooten actually means like if the horn, do you see it blows a horn, like you blow a horn, or no?
Yeah, you blow a horn, you honk a horn.
You honk a horn.
Or you toot a horn.
You toot a horn. Yeah, well, toot actually is probably the same origin of the word.
Yeah.
So actually the word Tüte not Tüte, but Tüte, used to refer to a kind of horn, which has this cone shape.
Oh.
So that's where it actually comes from, that the word horn, and like even literally the horn that makes the honking sound, but also like any cone or any bag kind of has this shape in Austria, Germany.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So one thing that Heiko is known for, dear listener, is his style.
But I think it's unusual even for our Germans or Austrians or Americans or anyone.
Yeah, maybe
not for the British.
maybe. What's your experience been being a guy with impeccable fashion sense, being here in Austria, a place where I would say you would fit in quite well, walking the streets of Vienna in the early 1930s?
Yeah, so the full extent of my style actually was completed here in Austria. So I was already like on my way, and maybe like meeting my wife got the finishing part of it. Yeah. But what my wife complains a lot about is that I get more compliments from people than she does. She has really needs to have some effort.
Well, I would say she has her job cut out for her if she's going to try to get more compliments than you, my friend. For those of you who can't see our friend Heiko, or maybe have never met him, he's currently wearing a wonderful 3-piece suit ensemble with a nice vest. Yeah, maybe we'll take a picture in order to put this on Instagram with Heiko's permission, of course, with a nice overcoat to go with it. Often with a hat. Definitely looks like he's like 1930s, 1940s. Is that your like target? Like what's your?
I don't.
Are you as a German trying to bring the 1930s back? Is that your statement?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, let's cut that out.
Well, let's say the Austrians and Germans do have a very sensible situation here.
Oh yeah.
I guess some Germans would like that to see that. But not our friends. Some Austrians would like to see that.
Yeah. Do you know why Germans never should wear like round sunglasses?
No.
Because they immediately become the villain.
That's true. That's a classic.
Fashion-wise, it's not.
I can't help but notice that you're wearing round glasses.
Glasses are kind of round,
but not sunglasses.
Okay.
Well,
that's much better.
They might be transition lenses. I don't know.
You're safe now.
All right. So what are some other things that have highlighted your experience? Because you married an Austrian, yeah?
Yes, I did, and she lets me know the difference every day. So,
can you
so she's my.
You need a referral to a counselor or something? It sounds like something we might need to talk about more in depth.
It's like when you wake up in the morning. So she's like, back to Austria.
I think it's the intrinsic urge of Austrians to let German people know that they're in Austria. So,
what are some of these things that she has identified?
The pronunciation, for example, the difference between coffee and café.
Yeah.
So coffee is a really big thing here in Austria. I love the coffee culture here. So maybe you don't get the best coffee in the coffee houses, but the flair is good. And there's some pretty little coffee shops which are really good. So since I'm here in Vienna, I know what good coffee tastes like. So this is one thing that in Germany is not.
But you have fights when you're asking for it.
Well, he loves it, but he cannot order it. That's the issue. It's like, I'd like to have coffee, and they're like, throw you out.
Yeah.
You can have it in your Tüte if you like. Get out of here.
Yeah. At the beginning, it's a struggle, like everyday struggle being a German in Austria. So,
but may I interject that if you go to a coffee place in Vienna and you order a coffee, usually you don't use the word coffee because we have so many words for coffee that they have individual names. Some are in French, like mélange, that you don't even have to pronounce the word coffee or cafe in the actual place. You should be fine.
Because I think even if you pronounce it correctly, you're still going to get like okay, great. What kind of coffee do you want?
Because that's maybe something that for listeners, if you go to Vienna and you just go up there and say, I want a coffee, please, they're going to say, well, try that again, because you can't
regardless of how you pronounce it.
You can't have a coffee. You actually need to specify what kind of coffee you want.
Yeah, do you want an espresso? Do you want a
but I can't remember if the first experience I went to a coffee house, a traditional. It was like actually you pay for the rude experience at a coffee house, so you expect the waiter to be rude. Well, so part of the experience.
You kind of want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're mispronouncing on purpose.
But yeah. But I think since he kind of knew that I'm German, it was even more than he said we don't serve cafe, in a really descending way, and then he gave me options. So I was like, okay,
which is again probably the response he would have given to you if you had pronounced it correctly. Maybe the rudeness would have been toned down.
Yeah.
Slightly. But even then probably.
Yeah.
Not much more, but
not
slightly.
Much more. Yeah, he just wouldn't have had quite as good of a comeback. So what about, obviously there's some differences in language, and we could probably talk all day about that. But what about differences in habit or behavior? Are there things that you do that are uniquely German that bother your wife or bother other people here in Austria?
I think the punctuality is a thing. Maybe it's a little bit more important for Germans, agreeing to meetings. For example, when a German or Austrian are asked if he or she is coming to a meeting, you can have the same word very different intentions. If a German says maybe, vielleicht, he actually means vielleicht.
Mm-hmm.
Austrian people, it is a code for probably not.
Shots fired. Is this true, Lucas?
Well, I'd say maybe. Vielleicht.
Wait, now I'm confused what this is.
So no, you don't know what you're supposed to be thinking.
Okay.
But he's right that I think the Viennese, they've always had this tradition to keep things as ambiguous as possible, as long as possible. So they don't want to commit. Whereas the Germans are known for that. If the German yes is a yes, you can rely on this, on the German's yes. Very or even the no. Yeah. If the German says no, you can't convince him otherwise. That's sort of the reputation they have. With the Austrians, they're let's think about it. It's maybe we have to let some time pass and reconsider that, and maybe have a glass of wine in between, and then we can come to some conclusion. And even then, we don't want to put a finger on something specific.
Yeah,
just that's how Austrians roll compared to Germans, maybe.
So have you found this? I keep coming back to your marriage. Sorry, brother.
He's still fixed.
I guess I'm well, because it's fascinating, right? The cross-cultural marriages. I mean, marriage can be a challenge enough in communication and making mistakes or whatever.
You might think an Austrian-German marriage is not a cross-cultural marriage at all if you're looking at it.
But it seems like
from the outside.
Absolutely.
But it's absolutely an issue.
Have you found this element of how you deal with conflict come up in your own? We don't need details, of course. I'm just curious.
The conflict thing, not so much, because in that aspect,
you just tell it's over, wife. No more fighting. At the end of it.
Heiko has a perfect marriage, apparently.
Yeah. No, because my wife is a little bit more direct in that. So in that matter, not so much, but the subtleness of maybe we need to go now, trying to be polite, and me not having figured out what are some moves to politely indicate that you need to go now, or we need to leave now.
Do you think that that's because you're German or just because you're rude?
Maybe both.
Is that a personal thing?
Could be both.
Yeah,
So maybe I sometimes I don't care enough to
Again, is that 'cause you're
to do
German,
the do the effort.
That's fair.
So like sometimes I think laziness is involved. Like
Not wanting to put forth the effort to make your
yeah,
relationships better. That's the yeah. It's too bad.
yeah. Also with gift giving and some other cultural aspects with being polite, because in every culture, like being polite is so totally different sometimes.
Yeah.
What can be rude to the other is for the other totally fine.
We'll talk a little bit about this gift giving, because this is an opportunity for our listeners to learn some different gift giving.
How to give a gift to a German.
What do you mean by that? Like, how have you experienced that being a difference?
I experienced that difference in the way that how you communicate if a gift is okay, like, or not. Like, if you is it a total fail?
Like, if the need for a gift is okay, or if the gift itself was...
If the gift itself.
Okay.
If the gift itself is okay. So I experienced that.
Have you given a gift that was received like,
Nope.
not adequate, take it back?
Have you ever given a gift?
The thing is, from the German part, probably I would have get it sooner or more direct. So from the Austrian side, I haven't been so far off by now. So I don't know what happens if you get the total fail. Yeah. If you absolutely totally fail, what happens?
Are there differences in the occasion when it's appropriate or expected to give gifts between your two cultures? Mm-hmm. Like, are there any things, like, I think of the idea of going over to somebody's home for dinner.
I think that's very similar.
Yeah.
So what kind of gift are you talking about, Heiko?
I think it's more about like birthday and Christmas and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I know when I came over first, one of the things I had to learn was this idea that it was maybe a cultural value or something that was expected that I would bring something to a dinner invitation. You know, whether that was a bottle of wine or flowers. And I know in some places in the States that's a shared cultural value, or like you don't show up empty-handed someplace. I mean, I don't know if that was something that I just missed. I was just always just coming in empty-handed to places. People really didn't like inviting us places.
Same guy again.
Oh, again, just wants his free meal. But is there a difference, I guess, then in the Austrian versus German expectation of that?
Or maybe with the Germans, there's a difference. I can speak for all the Austrians, but usually, like from west to east, I think all of them bring some small gifts when they're invited for dinner.
So people kind of expect that their dinner guests are going to bring something. They're not like specifically hoping for something. Right.
I can only speak for myself, and I've had so many international guests that I don't expect anyone to bring anything to begin with. But when I invite Austrians over, I kind of assume they're going to bring something.
Yeah.
Although if they don't bring anything, I'm not offended. But maybe there might be some Austrians out there who think, well, that's really bad manners.
Yeah.
Even as the host of the evening, and you don't get anything, they might take it personal, perhaps.
Never invite you again.
Yes.
I also think it's a generation thing. So like the tendency is more to like older people who still have like a idea of like how to be polite, and like the gift giving. I think for the younger generation, it's different now. So
kids these days. Just So we've talked a lot about the experience of a German coming into Austria and your feelings and the things you've experienced with that. But we haven't really talked about the other side of that is from our resident Austrian here,
Right.
what he thinks about the Germans.
First of all, I thought Germans have no feelings.
I'm trying to assume
Just assume.
that our friend Heiko has become less German over time.
It's just, yeah. He's learned.
Yeah, keep assuming.
Well, it is true that I think the Austrians care much more about the difference between Germany and Austria than the Germans do. It has been said that if you ask a German, how does a German identify? And a German would say, well, I'm German because I'm German. And if you ask an Austrian how to identify, and the Austrian would say, well, I'm an Austrian, it means I'm not a German. So they define their Austrianness by the non-Germanness.
Yeah.
Whereas the German is just, yeah, I'm from Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Austrians, they kind of try to create some distance between.
The Austrians have a bit of
The
a
Germans.
complex about making sure that people know that you're not German.
Exactly.
Where does that come from?
Where does it come from? Well,
Like, has it always been that way? I mean, obviously, borders have changed and the political realities of states have changed over time, but have the regions that are now Germany and the regions that are now Austria always had kind of this back and forth?
I mean, the history between what was pre-Austrian, pre-Germany has always been very, very fun. We have lots of wars with each other,
Yeah.
but we also had, were allies for lots of times as well. So you couldn't say, is it just this or is it just that?
Yeah.
There's always been some, from an Austrian perspective, there's always been some skepticism towards the Preuße, the Prussian. That's the mindset of the northern Germans, because we have to make more distinctions here, since the Bavarians that are very close to Austria are basically have the same attitude as the Austrians.
Yeah.
Usually we love the Bavarians as Austrians, but the northern Germans, that's a completely different story.
Yeah,
And
Germany's a
even
big
the
place.
Bavarians and the northern Germans, they have a difficult situation going on there. Right, Heiko?
Yeah, sometimes we don't get so well together.
And so would you assume that, or would you put Bavarians in the same kind of grouping as Austrians then? As a northern German?
yeah, so
Not that you can ever be bothered to worry about all those people to the south.
I think the
but-
Bavarians are more like the German
Closer.
Texans. Is they could be their own country.
Yeah.
They would like to maybe desire to be their own country, and the Germans wouldn't mind if Bavaria was its own country. But the Bavarians wouldn't be part of Austria because they don't want to be Austrians either. They just were mir san mir. They just say the Bayern is just what they are. They
Yeah, it's
just
enough.
it's enough.
there's actually a party in Germany who is for that Bavaria gets a kingdom again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On its own.
It used to be its own kingdom. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to put that in perspective. So when the Austrians were fighting the Germans, it was usually the Prussians, not the Bavarians.
Yeah.
So because Germany did not exist as we know it today. But to make a long story short is that when Austria was still the monarchy, it was a multilingual monarchy. In those days, the Austrians, as we would call them today, those people would even call themselves the German Austrians, the German speaking Austrians. And then we had the Hungarian speaking Austrians, and we had the Polish speaking Austrians and so on.
Yeah.
So it was all defined in different play rules. So if you want to put it this way, which in the end was the driving point of National Socialism, because that's what Adolf Hitler sought to do, is to say we have to unify all German-speaking peoples. There were in the Czech Republic, today's Czech Republic, there were people, German speakers. And also he actually, he claimed to have brought Austria home to the German Reich. And that's kind of was the policy.
So that's probably the most recent historical event that could kind of help explain the Austrian perspective towards Germans.
Yes, that's
The elephant in the room.
the elephant in the room. Yeah, you got to say it. And then since that didn't go well, that experiment,
No?
nope. The Austrians just tried, let's put it this way. After World War II was lost, I mean, everyone was bashing Germany. It's how could you, and you have to pay for this, and you have to, make amends and so on. And the Austrians we're not Germans, by the way. So we couldn't really be bothered with this, so goodbye.
Yeah.
As you might know from history, that Germany was split in two parts after World War II.
Yeah.
The same fate was actually thought about for Austria, that we actually split up, the Allied forces would split up Austria as well.
Yeah, Vienna was split up in a very similar fashion.
Yes,
to
they had
Berlin.
four zones of the four the French, the British, the Americans, and the Soviets back then.
Yeah, they just had a big river. They didn't have to build a wall.
Yeah, they could have separate that part easily. And since like Berlin was split into two halves as well, and it could have happened to Austria. People say, well, they were really so good in like charming the politicians or the decision makers back then with their wine. That's why it didn't happen. And the Germans were not smart enough to get
To be charming?
To be charming.
Oh, no, if it wasn't because they were smart enough.
They were like, no.
Couldn't do it.
So, so who knows what's true or not concerning that.
Yeah, like Austrians rely a lot on their charms.
Yeah.
Like what
I've experienced that.
What
So
would you
charming.
do?
So I'm so charming here.
But what will you do if you don't have any other options? Like if the skills are sometimes missing, then you have to rely on other stuff. Like yeah.
The Germans rely on the like made in Germany label, like that's quality work. They rely on the skills, and the Austrians just
Here, have some wine.
let's forget about it. Let's have some wine.
Yeah, the wine's made here in Austria.
And that's just deviating a bit from the story. That's what the Austrians also are bothered with the Germans. They just can't relax. You know, they stay like they come here and it's like if you have a glass of wine with a German, they're like, that's good and everything. But there's no like it's like chill, man, chill out, dude.
Loosen
Like
up a little
loosen
bit,
up a bit.
Heiko.
Like let's just
You're so tight. man.
That's why it's called cafe at our place.
well, yeah, because that really isn't the word because the Germans pronounce it Kaffee. Yes, and the Austrians pronounce it Kaffee. You know, like this, it's easy.
Yeah,
it's like it's easy going. So, I mean, people have said that the Austrian mentality is somewhat between the Italians and the Germans. Yeah. So we have like lots of this easygoingness that the Italians are famous for, like super chill.
If I could describe most Austrians, definitely easygoing is my go-to.
Right, but they also have some qualities that the Germans are famous for. Sometimes, so they are. I mean, I don't want to bash the Italians now, but
I
was going to say they are hardworking and they are, really reliable.
Make delightful pizza.
Well, but coming back to our little history lesson here is that, and we had this episode in the first season where we talked about how Austria dealt with the aftermath of World War II and the guilt question. We're told it is one. The president candidate Waldheim brought up like so many, like there was this turmoil in the 80s where Austria for the first time admitted, hey, well, maybe we did have a part in the whole crimes of like World War II. And up until then, they tried to put all the blame on the Germans, and therefore they had to make sure everyone knows Austrians are not Germans.
We're different.
The Germans are the bad guys. We're the good guys.
Yeah. We know because they're wearing all those circular sunglasses.
The circular sunglasses give it away.
Giving it away.
Yes. And if you've seen any
Obviously,
James
they're
Bond
the bad
movie,
guys.
obviously the Germans are the villains.
Yeah, let's just look at their sunglasses.
So we're just nice people who wouldn't hurt anyone. But as they then admitted that, of course, the Austrians admitted probably as many crimes as the Germans did through the Holocaust and through other war crimes that were going on.
Yeah, so as we can see with the actor Christoph Waltz, he can do a pretty good villain.
He's a very scary villain, yeah.
Well, he plays a German. He just
Shout out Christoph Waltz.
Just method acting. Just gets his, it's method acting.
Yeah.
So we've gotten pretty heated here.
Well, you don't know what's heated.
I know. Well, I'm trying to keep the temperature down. I'm a little scared for my safety here.
Yeah, like typically the Americans come in like just trying to resolve the Austrian-German conflict.
Hey, let me
here.
bring peace.
Yeah,
all right. I'm going to bring peace.
Bring peace and democracy to us, my friend.
So Heiko, what would you say has been the most positive experience for you as a German living here in Austria? How have you been embraced and accepted by your Austrian cousins?
So,
I won't go so far as to call them brothers.
Yeah, first of all, I got married to an Austrian, would make that pretty like acceptable.
Yeah, I guess you were embraced pretty well.
And here in Vienna, since it's again the most livable city, the positive thing is like the easygoing of Austrians. It's much more relaxing. Yeah, Vienna is a great city. So much to offer, cultural things to offer, good coffee, which I have to admit is like not a thing that should be made in Germany, though. And
let's not even talk about the schnitzel made in Germany.
Oh,
Schnitzel with Tunke.
Oh, that's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother episode.
That's a whole nother episode. Like, we
don't have time to get into that.
Schnitzel,
That's gonna get heated.
schnitzel with like sauce or not.
That's crazy.
Just, how wrong can you get?
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. That's also like I get a side eye from my wife when I say like, schnitzel with like gravy.
Yeah, so you're a big schnitzel with some sort of sauce guy then.
Yeah,
that's how we know you're German.
Had I known further before that, I would have not invited him in.
Yeah, like why do we let this guy in the door? That's
an
abomination.
absolute no go. But
yeah, just spritz a little lime juice on there and you're done.
That too.
You got more.
Yeah,
all this appreciation.
the countryside, like so close by here in Vienna, so it has to do with where we live. But if you don't live in the southern part of Germany, you don't get a lot of mountains. So, because what people consider mountains in northern Germany are like hills here. So,
I can't help but notice that 2 out of the 3 things that Heiko says he appreciates about Austrians are about not people.
Oh, yes.
Coffee shops and mountains.
Word for the people.
And everyone likes to be charmed.
That's true.
If it happens,
The
they
charm
can
of the
be.
Viennese.
They can be charming, like even to Germans, if they put all the willpower together.
Yeah, see, Lucas, it is possible.
well,
You could be
yeah.
charming.
It's just the Germans have to behave well, and then we're treating them right.
So, Lucas, are there things about your German visitors, friends, counterparts that are here in Austria that maybe you found to be wrong about or that you appreciate?
I mean, okay,
I'm trying to build bridges here.
yeah,
man.
like you're.
I'm working hard here.
I refuse to work on this bridge.
I
here.
want my friends to be friends. Come together on this bridge.
Come on, meet on the bridge. So you're asking if I appreciate anything about the Germans, or did I understand you correctly?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
No, like
have you found it in your heart to charm us with some, I don't know, some ideas about what? I don't know how to ask the question.
You don't know what the question to ask.
Have you removed the hatred of Germans from your heart?
Oh, now we're talking. This is the most important question. Here's one thing I really like about the Germans as the people, not even the country. I've been to the country many times, and it's a very nice and beautiful country, from south to north and north to south, and maybe east to west. Well, maybe not the east so much.
That's fair.
However, what I personally like, and maybe not every Austrian would say the same thing, is that with this German mentality and this mindset, is that usually when I talk to Germans, you really know where you're at. So if a German says this is the way, then it's the way. Like, they make a decision, they stick with it, and they carry it out, which is really nice to say, okay, like, we're clear on something. Because even I, as an Austrian, sometimes have problems with other Austrians. It's like, what's really going on? It's like,
Yeah.
and so I don't know, like, are we good? Are we not good? Are we going this way, going the other way? You have to do a lot of reading between the lines with Austrians sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And that's what the Germans also have. I've learned, have a hard time with the Austrians. Maybe even myself from time to time, when I could be much clearer, and it's fine. Like, any Austrian would understand that I'm clear enough for an Austrian, but maybe not. The German's like, okay, well, give me a straight answer. So I love that about the German culture and mindset, because I personally prefer the directness. But like I said, for some, this directness in Austria is even more like a threat. Like, you didn't act according to protocol. You should have greeted me first and waited 3 times to be greeted back and back and forth. And then you might have shared your request. And then you should have said goodbye and greeted even my distant cousin and my mom and everyone. So that would be the Austrian way. And the German's like, here is the fact, goodbye. And
The meeting is over now.
that's more the stereotypical approach.
Yeah, that's one of the big difference I noticed when talking to my family in the north, and compared to Austrians. That just came to me the other day. So when I talked to my uncle, So it's like, how are things and da-da-da. And then when we're done talking or run out of topics, then, okay, tschüss.
Choose.
It's like quick. And I, oh, yeah, right.
Talking to German.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking to my family in...
nothing was wrong. He wasn't upset.
Conversation Northern Germany. So it's different, kind of, as he said, like here, you have a kind of like a ritual, like especially when you visit someone, then you're kindly, slowly indicating that you have to go now. Then you stand up, you move towards the door, then you stay and have some small talk. Then you move forwards a little bit more. Then you stay. And at some point, when it's kind of is okay, then you leave. After you said, I'm exaggerating 1,000 times.
No, I don't think you are, though. I think this is
bye and tschüss, papa, and stuff like that. And
well, I think to embrace our German visitor, guten bye bye.
I was about to say something. This is getting really interesting. Well, ironically, the Austrians don't give up and don't want to say goodbye.
Yeah, here it is in action.
Here's an action.
I'm trying to make our guest feel.
Well, I was going to say, there's the Austrian hospitality really kicking in here, because if you do like someone, you basically don't let them leave as easily. So it's more like an appreciation of. So if I don't care about you, like, okay, well, it's time, just leave. But Austrians, as he would say, they would get up with you, maybe go to the. Right. Like leave the living room if you're at someone's place, go in the hallway to the door.
Conversation in the entryway.
Yeah,
classic.
And sometimes I've even noticed that, and I don't know if that's a particular Austrian thing or just my experience, is that from time to time the most interesting conversations happen just between like those minutes where people say I'm going to leave. And before they actually leave.
Yeah, it's the thing you've been holding on to all
night.
It's
like, there's one thing I wanted to ask you. Like one thing I wanted to tell you. And then suddenly, whoa. And then you keep on talking and chatting for 5 minutes.
Business partners and investing in a huge project.
There's one thing, I don't know if you, Heiko, have experienced that. There's a code that I learned, even as an Austrian. I don't practice that code myself. But I heard when you're like, if you're at someone's place in Austria and the host actually gets tired and like once you're out of the place but doesn't want to tell you, one code is to say like, would you like to have some more coffee? So, and then if it's like already like past, like you have dinner first and then you chat, and then the host says at some point, maybe you had even had dessert, would like some more coffee. That's kind of code where you're supposed to say, no, I need to get going anyway. So I've maybe seen it a couple of times happening.
Hey, Lucas, would you like some more coffee?
Yes, please. Can you offer me some more?
Guten bye-bye. Yeah, we're just gonna bye-bye, man. We're done.
You're done, yes.
Guten bye-bye.
Guten bye-bye. I had so much more things to say, but that's the Austrian way,
We gotta have an episode 2 then.
Okay. Well then, tschüss.
Tschüss.
Guten bye-bye.
Guten bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this Schnitz and Giggles episode.
Remember to follow and subscribe if you want more content like this from the Edelweiscrackers.
Don't be shy about commenting or leaving feedback. Until next time.
So long.
Farewell.
Good Wiedersehen.
Bye-bye.